So the big question is this: how do real people like us combat fake, awkward, boring, toxic interactions? We are adventurous introverts and authentic extroverts. How do we pitch ourselves so people listen? How do we not get interrupted in meetings? How do we socialize in a way that drives our success without being inauthentic? How can you stop wasting energy at events and with people you dread by taking command of your relationships? My name is Vanessa Van Edwards. I'm lead investigator at Science of People. Those are the questions, and I'll give you the answers. Hello, hello everyone. How are ya? Welcome to our live goal setting class. I would love to say hello to you. So if you want to pop into chat, say hello, tell me where you are. I would love to see where you are in the world. And I can already see, our numbers are ticking up. We have a couple hundred people with us already. So I know this is going to be a jam-packed class. That's exactly what I was hoping for. The more people who are on, the more we get to learn about each other. Goals, hello, Kate. Oh, Geronimo, Harshal, I love it. Hello, tell me where you are. I want to see where everyone is from LA, from Georgia, from Canada, from Mexico, Romania. Woo, we got a lot of people here today. So this is going to be a really, really full class. And please say hi in chat as I'm teaching. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what your goals are. Tell me what your thoughts are. I really want to hear from you. You can also help each other in the chat. So feel free to be as talkative as possible. We're there. Also, you'll see Danielle, Lauren, and Scott on chat, who are part of the Science People team, saying hello and chatting back with you. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Vanessa Van Edwards, and I run the Science of People. We are a human behavior research lab, and our mission, our goal in life, is to figure out the hidden forces that drive our behavior. I am obsessed with figuring out how people work, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about how you work, how goals work, how resolutions work. We're going to be diving into the science of goal setting and just a little bit of an overview of what we'll be doing today. So first of all, thanks so much for joining. I know that it gets so busy this time of year, so I'm so grateful that you joined us, and I can't wait to teach you a ton of really cool stuff. So we're going to get really actionable today. I'm not only going to be teaching you about science of goal setting, we're actually going to set your goals. I'm going to teach you my actual process that I use every year for goal setting, and I even save this and review it every year. So I'm going to be going into it with you when we're learning about your goals as well. That's going to be the majority of today. At the very end, for those of you who are here for People School orientation, I know, do not worry. We will be doing that at the very end, and I will be giving you all the juicy stuff on that. So if you're here for that, I really want you to learn the goal setting method. And that's because we're going to be tackling your goals in People School. So make sure that you watch all the goal setting class. And for those of you who are here for orientation, that's going to be at the very end. If you're here for goal setting class and you'd like to attend orientation, I would love for you to stay because I'm going to be teaching throughout. So hopefully you'll stay for all of it. And if you stay for all of it, of course, at the very end, I have a little present for you. So a little present, a little gift. I love giving presents. So at the very, very end, for everyone who stays, I'll have a little gift. All right. With that, let's go ahead and launch. Let's get started in our goal setting presentation. So as I mentioned, I love figuring out how people work. I'm also obsessed with science. I don't know about you, but every end of the year, beginning of the year, January, I kind of go through a process like this, where I'm just sort of weighing my options on my New Year's resolutions. And I'm trying to figure out, can I make that goal? Can I not make that goal? What's my option A? And really, what's my backup plan? And in the end of the day, I always end up in the backup plan. In fact, every year I feel like I start off with such high expectations. I'm like, this year is going to be different. I can do it. Other years didn't count. I'm way more mature this year. I don't know if anyone else feels this way. I start on a high. And then, and I don't know if this looks familiar, my New Year's resolutions list ended up looking kind of like this, where year after year, I would end up making the same resolutions and the same goals over and over again, just slightly modified, hoping that this year would be different, hoping that this year would be better. This list just cracks me up. I found this online and I was like, this is exactly what happens, where you just slowly start to modify those goals. And I realize that this is a process that happens to everyone. I don't know about you. Hopefully it happens to you too. If it's you too, say some of the goals that you've tried in the past. where there's this process over and over again where you start off really high at the beginning of the year, and then slowly reality begins to kick in and it becomes very frustrating. Here is the good news. It is not your fault. And I was in this horrible goal setting cycle for many, many years until I realized that goal setting is a skill. And we don't think about goals this way. Typically, we're just like, I want this, I want to get there. But actually, goal setting is a process and a skill that we are not taught. And there is a science to it. So part of the problem, I love it. People are putting their lose weight every year. I know. Tried writing a book, Hannah. Oh, I get it. So I have also these goals over and over again. And the problem is we end up having the wrong kind of thinking about goals. The most I was ever taught about goals was the SMART goal system, right? Specific, measurable, actionable, which was a great start. But that also didn't seem to work for me. Like I would get really specific, I'd get really measurable, but there was a part of the process that wasn't working and I couldn't figure out what that was until I began to dive into the science. Now, before I dive into the science, I want to get a little idea of who's here with us today, because this is also going to affect the kinds of goals you make. I realize there are two different kinds of goals. There are intrapersonal goals. These are the goals that are about you, that are about your willpower, your productivity, the way that you think, the way that you feel, mindset. And then there are also interpersonal goals. Interpersonal goals are relationship-based. So they're about other people. They're about communication. They're about getting that raise at your job. They're about finding a partner. They're other people related. And so when you think about goals in these two different buckets, something interesting happens, and it has to do with our personality. So when we look at personality, and at times people, as you probably have read, I write a lot about personality. When you look at the trait of extroversion, people tend to fall either high, medium, or low on that extroversion scale. And I found that there was a pattern between introverts, ambiverts, and extroverts and how they set goals. So I would love to know if you are a part of one of these three categories. So the first category, I like to call them introverted adventurers. We have a huge population at Science People, our Science of Peeps, who are introverted adventurers. If this is you, you can type introverted adventurer or IA into the chat. I'd love to see how many of you there are. So if you're an introverted adventurer, you tend to set more intrapersonal goals. So a lot of your goals are focused on your mindset, productivity, getting things done. We often forget about the interpersonal goals. So introverted entrepreneurs, adventurers, I'll also love introverted entrepreneurs. When they begin to set more interpersonal goals, it sounds like this. I want more control over my social interactions. Control is an intrapersonal idea, right? Having more control, feeling more calm. That's a way of thinking about your mindset when it comes to others. Or I want a more confident, authentic presence. I want to be heard without being loud. Typically, the kind of goals that introverted adventurers makes are this base of intrapersonal control, authenticity, being yourself, being confident, moving into your relationships. Oh, a lot. We got a lot of IAs. Okay, I love it. Possibly IA. So Justin, if you're possibly IA, you might be an ambivert. So see if the next one in 2 is you, if it sounds more like you. The next category we have are our goal-oriented extroverts. So if you're a goal-oriented extrovert, you can put GOE. GOE is not a very sexy title, but GOE or just extrovert in the chat. I'm curious if you're here. So goal-oriented extroverts. Now, our extroverts, I found that you tend to make very interpersonal goals. So instead of having your goals being about willpower or productivity, although you can have some, they're very, very focused on the external sources, the external stimuli. So they can be, I want to be a master communicator, right? Really leveling up that communication, or wanting to tie your natural charisma, your natural people goals to your career goals. So wanting to bridge the gap between, I'm really good socially. I really love interacting with people and being in relationships, but I can't seem to translate that to my boss or to my clients or to building rapport in the office. So trying to bridge those two. Jean said GOE for sure. Kind of like, it's like GOE. We should make some good ones. Okay. I get really excited about acronyms. Okay. The last one is I want to know what people around me are thinking. So this is a really interesting one for goal-oriented extroverts because it's both intra and inter, because it's focused on predicting behavior or reading people. So that's also one of your goals. By the way, you can have all of these goals. That's totally fine. They're all good goals. But I've noticed that a lot of extroverts tend to have a more focus on the other that has a benefit for themselves, which is an interesting way of flipping it around. Now, if neither of these felt like you might be an ambitious ambivert. This is me as well. So actually the majority of the population are ambiverts. We have a huge ambivert quiz on our website. You can take it if you're not sure. So ambitious ambiverts, this is when you really like being around people, but you have to have some recharge time, some alone time. You can't always be around people. I like to say that ambiverts like to be around the right people in the right situations. So ambiverts typically have a nice mix of inter and intrapersonal. In fact, one of the hardships about ambiverts is they can be pulled between, do I focus on sort of my spiritual side, my willpower, my motivation, or do I try to focus on the other? Do I try to build my relationships, work on my partner, work on my relationship with my boss? There might be a pull there. I don't know if that feels like you. That definitely feels like me. Oh, and Danielle was kind enough to just post our official ambivert quiz. I think it's scienceofpeople.com/ambivert. So if you're an AA ambivert for sure. Oh, there's a lot of ambiverts too. And by the way, you can change it. I think Bruiser said that he wanted to change it. Totally fine. If you all of a sudden are like, ooh, this sounds more like me. So typically ambitious ambiverts, this is kind of where their goals fall. If this sounds familiar. I want more from my work and the people I work with. Again, I want more from my intrapersonal, my productivity, my success, but I also want more from people I work with. Again, there's that pull. I want to earn more money. So you want to feel like your worth is met, especially in professional settings. And lastly, I want to have a greater positive impact. I find that ambitious ambiverts tend to think quite big. They tend to think about how do my actions affect the world around me. So the reason I start with these three categories is I think it's true. Like I said, AA sounds a little weird, Lowell. I know I didn't think through the acronyms so well, but we'll stick with it. We'll stick with ambivert. The interesting thing about this, the why I start with this, because I think it's good to think about how you're oriented. And the goal here is to not change how you are naturally oriented. My goal is for you to stick with your natural strengths. I also wanted to give you some ideas of some of the goals and some of the future mindset that we want to think about for the next 3 steps. So my goal setting process is 3 different steps. And I thought long and hard about these steps. They are science-based, and I think that they are very, very actionable. So I say, let's dive in. Now that you know your category, you've gotten some motivation on goals. Step number 1 is all about taking your emotional temperature. Another way to say this, by the way, is how to take your intrapersonal temperature. This is how do you feel with your life right now? Taking stock of the last year, of the last few months, intrapersonally, how do you feel about how everything is going in your life? And this is really important because most people make the fundamental mistake in goal setting. This is what I did for many years, of immediately going into future-minded. So when we think about goals, we go into next year, next month, 5 years, 20 years, and ooh, future-minded thinking feels so good, right? We think about the future, we're like, everything's going to be better in the future. When we do that, we set goals that are either not related to our current state or not realistic enough because we're not tying our current state to our future state. Let me share one of my favorite scientific studies on this. Okay, so this was done by Dr. Hal Hirschfield at UCLA. Sorry that I think my image is blocking. He's from UCLA. And here's what he did. Such a good study. Okay, so he took participants in his lab and he put them into an fMRI machine. Oh, wait, I need some, hold on. I can hear when I get excited, my voice goes high. Okay, so he put the participants into an fMRI machine and he asked them 3 different things to do in that fMRI machine. So they're laying in the fMRI machine. And first he said, I want you to think about yourself. So just close your eyes for a second and just think about yourself. That's actually going to activate a very specific part of your brain. I won't tell you which yet. But when you think about yourself, it begins to activate a certain part of your brain. The second thing that he had them do was he had them think about a celebrity. I think in the study he used Matt Damon or Natalie Portman. I think that those are the 2 celebrities he used. So close your eyes for a second and think of your favorite celebrity, just for a second. Should feel maybe a little different. Okay, think about that for a second. Okay. The third thing he had them do was think about themselves in 10 years. So 10 years from now, I want you to think about where you think you're going to be in 10 years. So close your eyes. What does your life look like in 10 years? Where are you? How do you feel? What do you look like? Right? Just think about yourself in 10 years. So with these three categories, by the way, if for those of you who are really tuned in, you might have actually felt that thinking felt differently, because here's what happened. Oh, sorry. What's an fMRI machine? It's a way that it's a machine to scan your brain activity. So it looks at the different neural activity in parts of your brain. So for example, it might activate your prefrontal cortex, your amygdala. So basically what he was looking at is what parts of your brain are active when you do this thinking. Thanks, Ken and Janet, for clarifying that. Okay. So here's what happened. He found that we use the same part of our brain when we think about 2 and 3. In other words, when you think about your favorite celebrity, you use the same part of your brain as when you think about yourself in 10 years. In other words, we think of our future selves like an idealistic favorite celebrity. This kind of blows my mind because what it means is that when we're in this future thinking, we actually turn into the idealized version of ourselves. We think of our future selves like a celebrity, which is usually a little bit more distant, right? Maybe putting on a pedestal a little bit more, not as tied to our real life. So this is the fundamental reason why most goals go wrong. Is when we sit down to think about ourselves in 6 months or a year and 5 years and 20 years, we aren't thinking about where we are right now. We're using a different part of our brain, an idealized part of our brain. So the reason that I want us to do step number 1 of taking our emotional temperature is I actually want us to start right now in our current state. And this is why I want us to take our emotional temperature. Isaiah said, mind blown. I know. It's like this made me understand why my goal setting didn't work for so long. Okay, here's what we're going to do. This is one of my favorite activities. This is called your goal wheel, something that I created for us to take our emotional temperature or our intrapersonal temperature right now. So you can take a piece of paper out and you can draw this on a piece of paper. Or if you want to grab the PDF, I have this as a free orientation PDF for you. It's at scienceofpeople.com/PDF. I think I can actually launch that for you. Hold on. Let's see if I can do it. We're going to try. So maybe you can download that from me here, or you can go to that page. It's free. It just has all the exercises that we're doing together. So if you want to use that, you can, or you could just draw that circle on a piece of paper, whichever is easiest for you. Here's what I want you to do. This goal wheel is meant for you to take stock of your life right now, to stay in that part of your brain that is current minded. And we're going to do this for each area of your life. So how this circle works, it's real easy. This goal wheel works is you're going to rate on a scale of 1 to 5. So 1 is you're not satisfied at all. You think a lot is missing, a lot is lacking. 5 is everything is great. You're extremely satisfied. And you're going to fill in the line for each area. The reason why I love this exercise is because it's a way to visualize very quickly how you feel in all areas of your life. It might be really uneven, right? You might have some at 1 and some at 5. You might have a really full, beautiful circle. Everything's at 5. Oh, if that's the case, you are doing good, my friend. Major kudos to you. It's a really easy way to take a snapshot. I do this goal wheel every single year. And what I do every year is I look back to see where I was that year to try to get my circle more and more full. So it's a really nice way to have a snapshot of your year in review. So one by one, let's do this together. And you can draw this on a piece of paper, or you can do this in that PDF. Business, professionally, how do you feel about your work, career, or business effectiveness and success? A 1 if that question makes you nervous, right? A 1 if you're like, there is so much more that I could be getting from my career right now. A 5, give it a 5 if you're like, yeah, I'm a rock star, right? I'm doing great. It's all going really well. That would be a 5 for you. How about your social life, friends, your friendships, your support system? Do you have someone to call when you had a bad day? Do you have someone to call when you had a good day? Do you have a safe place for you to be with people? So I want you to rate 1 to 5. 1 being, I do not have a support system. I'm not satisfied with it. 5 being, I have an amazing support system. Family. How are your personal relationships, your partner or spouse, your parents, your children? How do you feel about where you are with your familial relationships? I want you to put that in there. And by the way, if you want to add a kind of romantic category, this would go in that family category, the romance side. Personal passions. Do you have personal passion projects, hobbies, or fun activities that fulfill you? Is there something other in your life that's giving you energy, that makes you feel like it's worth getting up in the morning? How are your personal passions? 1, if you don't even know a personal passion in your life. 5, if you're like, I have a ton of hobbies and they're great. Spiritual. So this is for my, especially for my introverted adventurers, but I want you to do this no matter what category you are. So especially my extroverts. We don't often think about our intrapersonal. So spiritual, and you can interpret this however you like. It could be your faith, it could be your mental health, it could be mindfulness, it could be mindset, it could be your personal journey. However you interpret that word, how do you feel? 1, you're not satisfied with it, you barely give it much thought. 5, you feel like you're really fulfilled in that area of your life. And lastly, health. And this is the one that most people think of when it comes to New Year's resolutions. Are you happy with your physical health and wellness right now? 1, if no. 5, if yes. So I want you to fill those in for me. Here are my goals for this training. 1 is I want you to be able to set the right goals to get to all 5s. The closer we can get to having fuller circles, and by the way, you can print this out and you could use it every month if you want. You could do it every week if you want. It is a resource for you to use as much as you want. I want us to set the right goals to get all 5. It's a really nice way to visualize fullness. All 5s means your life is full. You feel like you're experiencing and optimizing all areas. If it's uneven, it means there's like a little bit of effort that needs to go into these specific areas. And if you have a smaller circle, that's okay. That means you have a lot of room for growth and improvement. My second goal here for the training is that I think the best way to achieve your goals are with 2 sides of skills. First, intrapersonal, how you think, how you work, how you feel, and interpersonal. And this is where most people go wrong. So the second mistake, I talked about the first mistake with goal setting, is that we stay in future-oriented mindset, right? We don't think with our current brain. The second problem is that most of us think about goals as just intrapersonal. I want to be healthy, that has to do with me. I want to be more successful, that just has to do with me. We don't realize that so many of our goals are actually tied to the people around us. Everything from our partner eating differently than us, not on our diet, to our boss not having buy-in on the success that we want, to our friends not knowing how we feel about them, right? All of those goals are affected by other people in our life. And so that brings me to my own little story. And I won't go into my big story here. I'm sure a lot of you have heard my story before, but I am a recovering awkward person. And for most of my life, I had everything out of whack. I had a very, very small circle. And I could not figure out why everything in my life felt like 1s and 2s. Everything felt out of whack. And I joke that this was sort of my goal wheel. You know, if you just kind of look, everything was just kind of wrong and awkward. And what I didn't realize is that I had 2 things out of whack. Is 1, I didn't have my mindset in the right place, which is what I'm going to try to do with you today. And second, I was trying my hardest to isolate myself. I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I was very uncomfortable in school. And so anything that had to be done, I didn't want to ask for help. I felt like I couldn't trust anyone. I couldn't rely on anyone. And so I was always trying to fix my life, quote unquote, fix my life by myself. And it's very, very hard to fix things when you're by yourself. So my goal today is to teach you about the mindset, but also about how to build a support system that works for you, how to get buy-in from your friends and your boss and your colleagues and your partner and your spouses, and to build communication relationships that actually work for you. Because it took me far too long to figure that out. Just a little statistic here. Most people don't believe me when I tell them that people skills are hugely important for every area of their life, especially business. So Carnegie Institute of Technology found that 15% of our financial success is due to technical ability. Now, when you think about career success, most people think about technical things, getting another degree, getting another certification, learning a new skill, beefing up their resume. What actually they found was that 85% of our financial success is due to people skills, like personality. That's why I started with personality traits, the ability to communicate, negotiate, and lead. Those are usually secondary on the list when people are thinking about raising their income or raising their rates or negotiating for more money, because they usually think about the technical side. But the interpersonal part, I think, is just as important. It's just as important for goal setting as well. And this statistic blows my mind. I quote it all the time because I cannot believe it. High PQ earners. So PQ is interpersonal intelligence. People with high interpersonal intelligence make an average of $29,000 more per year. And by the way, that study is a little bit old, so I'm sure that number is even higher now. Right. I don't know about you, but when I was in school, I was focused on GPA and SAT and scores and skills. I was not thinking about personality. I was not thinking about negotiation. I didn't even take a negotiation in high school or college. That wasn't even offered. And I didn't realize that actually I was focusing on the 15% of my ability as opposed to the 85% of my ability. So we have figured out this method. I went from all ones and twos in my life to figuring out how to teach both intra and interpersonal skills. We have 146,000 students. Thank you. A lot of you are on this call right now. We're already up. We're almost at 500 people right now. 10 million views on our video tutorials on YouTube. I've done over 500 live events, and we have been lucky enough to feature this approach. It's very different all over the place. The reason that I share this with you is because if I can do it, you can do it. The reason that I share this is because this is not something that I made up and I'm teaching to you just because I feel like it. This is something that we are using all around the world. And I think it is a system that you must take seriously. So please do step number one. If you've just been kind of watching passively, please write down your goals for each area. Rate those different steps in each part of your goal wheel, because that step is crucial before we go on to the next step. Okay, I think we're ready to go on to the next step, but please make sure you do step number one. Okay, now that we've taken your intrapersonal temperature, we've taken your emotional temperature, it's time to take your interpersonal temperature. So I want you to now take stock of who is contributing to your life. Remember when I talked about how the people in your life also affect your goal completion? This is when we realize who's helping our goals and who's hurting our goals. This is where we're going to take stock. I love this quote by Jim Rohn. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. We think, we wish, we hope that our goals are just have to do with us. I wish that for a long time, but actually the people around us greatly affect our effectiveness in our goal setting process. So here's what I want us to do. I want you to think about your people workflow. So everyone's talking about productivity these days. And I always am baffled when people talk about productivity. They're always talking about to-do lists and calendaring, scheduling, sticky notes. I love all those things, but they always forget to talk about the people. Every part of your to-do list, every part of your goal has to do with someone else. So here's what I want us to do. I want you to brainstorm here. Think about who is in your inner circle. So on the average day, we just saw that quote from Jim Rohn. Who are the 5 people you're interacting with most? Who are the 5 people you're interacting with most in a week? Who are those inner circle people? By the way, you might not like these answers, right? This is not idealistically. Like when I first did this idealistically. I answered some of my closest friends, but then I really got real with myself and I realized I don't actually see my closest friends every day. In fact, sometimes I don't even see them every week. In fact, sometimes I'm lucky if I see them once a month. I wish they were in my inner circle, but they weren't actually in my inner circle. So who are you interacting with most in your inner circle? And then you can go to your outer circle. So these are the 5 people, and you can make this list longer if you want. You can make 10, 20, however many people you're interacting with on a weekly, monthly basis. Who's kind of in your outer circle? Who touches your life? Maybe even through social media or email or IM. On your Facebook feeds, do you have someone who dominates your Facebook and Instagram feeds? So you're in a weird way, you're interacting with them as your outer circle. All those social media feeds affect our mindset and our productivity and our own goal setting. And there are people who help us with that, right? Social feeds that inspire us and tell us to keep going, make us laugh. And there are those who don't. So think about your inner and outer circle, everyone in your workflow. Another little exercise here, if that you're having trouble filling those in, here's another way to think about it. Now I want you to do your daily workflow. So go through your day chronologically. Think about your morning tasks from the moment you wake up all the way through your morning coffee, all the way through lunch. Think about your afternoon tasks. Who interacts with you? After work, is there people you see after work, hobbies or clubs? And then of course, professional development. Maybe there's people who could pop into your life occasionally. So who's in your daily workflow? And another way to think about this is your project workflow. So are there projects that you do on a weekly, monthly, annual basis that maybe come into your life? This could be anyone from a contractor to a teacher to a role model. This could be if you watch someone online, if you watch our YouTube videos every Friday, I might be a weekly project for you. I'm happy to be in one of your 5 people. So think about all those people. It does not have to be always in person. It can be digitally as well. It's anyone who's affecting your mindset, anyone who's affecting your current emotional temperature. So I want you to fill this out completely. Get as many names on there as possible. It does not have to be 5 in each category. You can have 10, 20, 30. I want you to get everyone on this list. We know that when we're able to predict, when we're able to see the behavior, that helps us predict how they're going to work with us. In fact, this is a great statistic from Google People Analytics team. This is kind of their HR team at Google. They can predict with 86% confidence who will be a good hire. And the reason why I talk about people skills or interpersonal skills is because I think that if we begin to take stock of who's in our life and how they're affecting us, we're able to better predict who's going to help or hinder our goals. And that's incredibly important because if you're identifying where your gaps are, that could be a reason why you haven't reached your people goals in the past. So this is the big one. Now we're starting to get into some identification. So you've thought about your emotional temperature, you've thought about your goal wheel, you've thought about who's in your life. Now I want you to think about who is tied to your people problems. I'll even add here as a little extra is who is tied to your goal problems. So if a lot of your goals are intrapersonal or just based on you, is there anyone who affects you or stops your goals or slows you down or hinders you or makes you feel bad in any way? We want to immediately identify those people to figure out why. Just a couple of funny ideas for you. So I don't know if you've ever met this kind of person. They, as long as everything's exactly the way I want it, I'm totally flexible. Anyone know anyone like this? This is a very rigid person. If you have a very rigid person in your life, they can be quite difficult, especially if you're trying to achieve goals. Or how about this person? Oh yes, I think I have good people skills. What kind of idiot question is that? Do you know someone who thinks they are really charismatic, really good with people, but actually they are not so good with people and they are not so charismatic? Or how about this person? Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Someone who drains you, someone who takes energy from you. How about this person? Do you have one of these in your life? I sure hope not. My goal is to make it so that you can work with anyone on anything. And I think that this is really important for your goals because you notice that those goals affect all areas of your life, from health to spiritual to friends. And I want to make sure that the people in your life are helping you in all of those areas. Here's some examples. By the way, if you're having trouble thinking about people problems, and I'm curious in the chat now, tell me if any of these people problems resonate with you. So no accountability, lack of communication, you feeling like you're not being taken seriously by someone, inability to find common ground, a lack of respect, not feeling like you have a strong enough reputation. That's more of a intrapersonal leading to interpersonal. Being interrupted, not having enough influence, lacking confidence, being forgettable. Do any of these resonate with you? We sometimes have to start with the problem before we can identify how that works. So if you look at these people problems, I want you to begin, oh, okay, Sylvia said not having enough influence. Yeah, that's a big one. And that was a big one for me too as well, which kicked off my career. Oni said all of the above. I feel you. I get it. So I want you to take these and I want you to begin to slot them into your goal wheel. This is a really important part of identifying what's held us up in the past. So look at your goal wheel, look at those examples of people problems or examples in your own life, and begin to write details in each area of your life. So in business, is that not having enough influence? In family, is it having a lack of communication or a lack of respect? With personal passion, is it not having enough people to go out with or not having enough accountability partners? What are the different people problems and how do you slot them into your goal wheel? Jill said being interrupted. Chrissy said many of them. I get it. That a lot of these are going to resonate because they are the most common people problems that we see. We get thousands of emails at the Sense people. I'm always so grateful to hear from you. And we ask, what are your biggest people problems? And these are the kinds of things that we get. So these are very, very common. You are not alone if this is you. So begin to write out where these people problems affect different parts of your goal wheel so we can identify how to fix them. Now, let's switch into the good side. Okay, so that was the problems. We're going to switch into the solution side. So what solutions could help you in these areas? If you had more powerful communication, if you improved your career reputation, if you optimized networking, if you became more memorable, what are the solutions that resonate most with you? So again, tell me which ones of these you think could be kind of that key, right? That reset button, that unlock button. Which one of these you think could have the biggest impact on different parts of your goal wheel? Here, again, I want you to tie in your people solutions with your goal wheel. And by the way, I know I'm teaching very fast because we have a ton of content, but don't worry, we'll review it all at the end. So think about your solutions. It doesn't have to be my list, by the way. This could be your list as well. If you think to yourself, what's the one thing that I could do that would have the biggest impact on this goal wheel? What is it? That's your biggest solution. So for each of these areas, and if you're a geek like me, you could even do red and blue pens. Ooh, I do love my office supplies. You could add in the problems and the possible solutions for each area. So what are the solutions for each area? Like maybe in business, it's being indispensable. It's being a known person in your network, in your job, with your team, and making sure that everyone knows your skills. Maybe with health, it's finding a better support system, finding people who can give you accountability, people who are not enablers to bad behavior, finding people who also eat healthy that you can eat like. Maybe in personal passions, it's expanding your network. So thinking about all these different solutions in your different areas of your goal wheel. This is my biggest push now. When we think about success, we forget about the people skills. Your goals are not just about how you think in your mindset. That's part of it. And we're talking about that, but it's also about who affects those different goals. Okay. Now we're going to go into step number 3. And this is about creating your development plan. So I talk a lot about, for People School, creating a career development plan. For us today, I've narrowed this down to a development plan, just in case you don't have only career goals. But I really encourage you to think about your professional goals as well. So this plan, we've done a really good job taking your emotional temperature, where you are right now. The next thing we did is we identified where some of the problems are and where potential solutions could be to those problems. The third step is figuring out how we're going to tackle that. What are the actual action steps we need in our lives to be able to begin to achieve those solutions in our goal wheel? Okay, here's how we create a development plan. And by the way, everything I'm talking about, if you want to get the PDF, it's at sciencepeople.com/PDF, where you can kind of go through the exercises that I'm about to go through. So you can kind of take notes. Okay, here's the first thing that we're going to do for our development plan. And this is where you get to go into future minded. So remember how I talked about that study where our future selves is like a celebrity? This is right now. You get to think about your future self. It's the best, it's the most fun part, I think. So close your eyes. In 1 year time, where do you want to be? So 1 year from now, what feels right to you? And the reason why we're doing this is the third step is because you've just gone through where you are right now. So keep in mind where you are right now. What does 1 year look like for you realistically and idealistically with where you are right now? Now let's dive in even deeper. With your goal wheel, I want you to actually answer this question in all 6 areas. Where do you want to be in 1 year with your business? Where do you want to be in 1 year with your friends? Where do you want to be in 1 year with your family? Where do you want to be in 1 year with your personal passion? The more specific we are, the less idealistic we are. So the problem when we think about our future is when we're thinking about a celebrity, we put a celebrity on a pedestal, right? They seem kind of perfect. They're airbrushed. But we actually break down different parts of our lives. It makes us be more realistic. So when you think about where do I want to be health-wise in 1 year? Where do I want to be spiritual-wise in 1 year? It helps us drill down to make us more realistic about our goals. So get details. Where do you want to be in 1 year in each area of your goal wheel? Next, let's identify the gaps. Thanks for your patience. Okay, so where are the gaps? What technical resources do you need to be where you want to be in 1 year? What do I mean by technical resources? This could be as specific as I need to upgrade my computer. I need to go get a certification. I need to get a good performance review. I need to get a better time management system. What are the technical things that you need to be able to get where you want to get where you want to go? Get where you want to get where you want to go. What we're doing here is I'm doing something very specific for your brain. I'm trying to take your current minded brain and tie it to your future. So what do you need to get there technically? Next, what are the people skills you need to get there? So do you need to work on your reputation? Do you need to work on presence? Do you need to learn negotiation? Do you need to learn public speaking? Do you need to build loyalty with your boss? Do you need to learn how to raise your rates with clients and feel good about your worth? What are the people skills needed? The more specific, the better, right? The more specific you can be with these needs, the better. And lastly, this is my favorite category, is who is your HIP? Your HIP, this is a word that I created for myself many years ago. Now I've been teaching it to my students. HIP is different than a VIP. A VIP, very important person. An HIP, your highest impact person. This is someone who can greatly affect the success or failure of your career goals. So the reason I had you go through that people workflow is because I wanted you to bring all the people in your life really front of mind, because one of those people could be your HIP. And by the way, if you don't think you have an HIP, that means you need to expand your network. So who is your highest impact person? Here's just some examples of how this could look. So let's say that one of your big goals, one of your big business goals, is that you want to be lead on 3 major clients. The technical resources you need, a stellar annual review, and you need to get a new client proposal together. Those are very specific things you need. The people skills you need to be able to do that is you need to work on your presentation skills, right? If you're pitching clients all the time, those got to be perfect. And also it'd be good to build your relationship with your boss, so your boss wants you to be lead. Your HIPs, your highest impact people in this specific goal, would be your boss and your longest existing client. This is just an example of how this would work, how this goal setting process would work. Let's say that your health goal in your health section is to hit your goal weight. A technical resource that you would need is a diet that works with your food allergies. Let's say that you're gluten-free or you're lactose sensitive. You would need to find a diet that really works with your food allergies. That's a very technical, specific thing that's based on research. The people skills needed would be to find a workout partner, right? Find someone who can keep you accountable, maybe even a trainer, or get your partner, your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend on board so that they at least are eating similarly to you or are willing to eat with you, right? Because you found that, sometimes if they're eating different than you, that affects your ability to lose weight. And your HIP you decided in this specific situation is actually your partner. You can get your partner on board with maybe even the same diet that would help you hit your goal weight. These are just examples of how this process works and how we're tying your current mind to your future mind. All right, we're going to take it up a notch. Okay. And by the way, I'm going through all these fast. After this workshop, I want you to dive deep. The reason why I'm going through it all fast, I want to make sure I get it all in so that I can teach it to you and then you can spend some time thinking about it. So the next one, where do you want to be in 5 years? Same questions, but we're taking it one step further. So in 5 years from now, what are the technical resources you need to get where you want to be? What are the people skills you need to be where you want to be? And your HIP, Candace asked, so is the HIP just for encouragement? It's a good question. Your highest impact people could be for encouragement, but it could also be people who hold the keys to your future. Like it could be a boss who needs to give you the go ahead. It could be finding a trainer that actually works with your personality type. So it could be encouragement, but most likely it's actually someone who is a gatekeeper or a key holder or an information that they have information that you need. So if you have multiple HIPs, that's also okay too. Good question. Next one. Oh yeah, and again, I want you to do the details for this. So print out as many copies or do as many circles as you want. This is 5 years from now. Give me details. What does your business look like in 5 years? What do your friends look like in 5 years? What does your health look like in 5 years? Get as specific as possible. And then next, one more. Where do you want to be in 20 years? This is the hard one. I know this is the hard one. And this is really future minded, but this is how we make sure that your current short-term goals are matching where you want to be down the line. So again, go through all those details for your 20-year one. If you want, so what I do for my goal wheels is in the little center of the circle, I will put the year, like the current year in there. And then I might even put for 5 years from now, 20 years from now, and I can actually follow my track. I can see, wow, 5 years ago, I thought I'd be here. So it's amazing to keep track of these. And then in the little center of the circle, that's where you can put which goal wheel it is and what year you're in. I believe this is the most targeted goal to any kind of success that we have, especially career success. We don't realize that so many areas of our life are tied to our professional success. And we're really specific about what we want, where we want to go, and the things that we're missing, the technical skills that we're missing, as well as the people skills. It helps us be really targeted with our goals. Now, what I want you to do for a second, this is a lot of information, I know. So this is my pep talk for you, is I want you to think about how powerful this could be for you. I was able to teach you this exercise in 45 minutes. I think it is totally game-changing. So just think for a second, if you found all the missing skills in your development plan, could you hit all your goals? If you found all those skills, you got all your technical resources, what would change in your life? If you got all fives, think about your life as all fives, being satisfied in all areas. How could that change your life satisfaction? How could that change how you feel when you go to bed in the morning, how you feel when you get up in the morning? And lastly, if you got all fives, how could that change your income and your future? Right? How could that level you up or leverage what you're doing right now so that you're happy with where you're going? This is a very, very powerful exercise if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to do all three steps. And it's luckily here for you. You can do it as quickly or as long as you want. This is it. This is the entire exercise. I do this every year. You are ready, as this little pug is ready to go. This is everything you need to set goals and set yourself up for your best year yet. It's what I use every year. And I would also love to see your goal wheels. So as you fill out your goal wheels, feel free to tweet them to me or Instagram them to me. I love seeing people's goals. Now, if you found that you're like, what? Oh, I love good old Will Ferrell. If you felt like I gave you too much information or you're a little bit overwhelmed, or you notice that a lot of your goals are interpersonal. So if a lot of your goals were intrapersonal about you, about your mindset, about your productivity, the way that you feel, cool. You have everything you need. If you felt like, oh man, a lot of my goals were related to people. A lot of my goals were related to rapport building and pitching and negotiation and public speaking. I would love to teach you or help you a little bit more on that side of things. That's where I fall. This is how I feel when I fix something. I like to call myself a professional fixer. I want to fix everything on your list. So if you notice that a lot of those people problems resonated with you, for those of you who said, oh my gosh, all those things on that people problem list, that's all me. Here are some ways I want to help with those people skills. And for all of you who have been patiently waiting for people skill orientation, we are here now. That's why I wanted you to stay through the goal settings so you could be really set for where you want to go. I would love to take a few minutes and talk about People School. And this is a course that I've been working on my entire life. It's what I wished I had learned in school. It is all the advanced people skills that I think everyone should have in their career. So if this was you, if you had a lot of interpersonal issues, I would love to tell you about what that involves. So People School, all virtual, it is 12 skills. And let me tell you, it was so hard to pick the most advanced people skills. I write about people skills in my blog and in my book. These are the people skills that I think set the foundation for really advanced career success. It is 8 weeks long. It's completely virtual. It's learn at your own pace. So you can log in from wherever you are. We have tons of international students in our first 2 classes. So it's from wherever you are, and you can also log in whenever you would like as well. Let me go into how it works. A couple details for you. So first things first, once you apply, it's actually application only. Once you apply and get in, you will first get our massive workbook. So that's all of our slides, all of our exercises and templates. Just to give you an idea, these are the kind of things that we give you in your people toolbox. This is just a small list. It's not everything, but conversational blueprints. So if you found that communication was a difficult thing for you, elevator pitch formulas. And actually all my People School students know I will be debunking the myth of the elevator pitch. I think that we should do away with it. I'm going to give you an interaction roadmap, goal worksheets. We're going to be doing charisma quiz, pattern recognition exercises. We have tons of exercises in your people workbook that we're going to be going through. This I usually sell, by the way, to companies. I call it a social skills workbook. I usually sell it to HR departments, sales departments, engineering departments for a $3,000 just for the workbook. So that is where that usually goes. And I usually just give it to corporations. I hadn't brought these exercises into all of my Science of Peeps until People School. My goal, by the way, with the workbook was to try to make everything on your to-do list easier. What I mean by that is you just made hopefully a massive to-do list, right? Technical resources needed, long technical resources needed, people skills needed. You have this long to-do list. I tried to pick exercises to identify every single thing on that to-do list, especially with the shortcuts. It took me way too long to learn this. So if I can give you a shortcut to make it faster for you, it took me years to learn public speaking skills. I would much rather give you a shortcut to learn those instead of having to do it the long way. And then I like to think about this in terms of people math. How many minutes, and I'm curious, you put this in chat for me, if you had to guess, how many minutes a day do you spend emailing with people? For me, it's like 4 hours, probably 4 hours a day. It's a lot. Oh, 4 hours is 4 times 60. It's a lot of minutes. I don't do math very well. How many minutes a day do you spend talking to people on the phone or in person? Oh, wow. Tanya, 30, 20. Yep. Okay, perfect. So how many minutes a day do you spend talking to people on the phone or in person? Do some little math here, by the way. So I would say I avoid the phone like the plague, but I do in-person meetings, maybe an hour a day, maybe 60 minutes for me. And Candace said 4 to 6 hours. I work on the computer. I hear that. And how about this one? How many minutes a day do you spend thinking about what someone will think, say, or do? I don't know about you. This one gets me every time. I wasted a lot of time worrying about what other people were thinking of me, thinking about my work, thinking about their projects. And I wasn't doing it effectively and I wasn't doing it productively. It wasn't serving me or them. So I also want you to log here all those minutes you spend worrying about it. Oh my gosh, people are saying 24/7. I know. I like dreaming, right? I lay down in bed and it's like all the people stuff comes. Jean said too many. I feel you. So I want to calculate that people math because that's what we're talking about here. Again, we don't think about how much of our energy is going to those interpersonal skills. We often just think about the intrapersonal side. John said too much time worrying. I know, me too, used to be. Okay, now let's break this down into percent. What percent of your job, your goals, your to-do list involves at least one other person? If you're like me, and I even work virtually, a lot, 90+% of my job, my goals, my to-do list involves someone else, right? Even down to my weight goals, right? With my husband, making sure that he eats the same as me, right? All of those, 24/7. Yes, me too. I totally get it. You are not alone. So what I tried to do for this is I tried to think, oh, this picture makes me laugh. I think it's so clever. We tried to think of every people problem you could encounter and solve it for you. Even with a little hack, we call a lot of these people hacks, right? We try to think of creative shortcuts, creative ways to be able to solve your problems. And I love thinking about this picture because we get creative with your people problems. Manu said a lot, around 70%. Jamie said 85%. I know that picture's hilarious. Candace, I love it too. Aaron, but I have to work on myself 100% and be better for my clients. Yeah, and it might be 100%. Absolutely. Okay, so after we do those exercises, and we do exercises like that, where I'm trying to have you think very differently about your typical to-do list, your typical goals. The next thing we do is we have 12 video training modules. So actually it's far more than 12 because we have bonus sections, we have intros, we have quizzes, but you have 12 advanced skills. Each skill, you get one video for each skill, and each skill we teach you the science, a framework, and a strategy you can apply right away. So it's some hopefully mind-blowing scientific study that you're like, what? That completely changes your perspective. A framework for how to apply it, so it's not just knowledge, and then an actual strategy you can do that day. So that's what each of those 12 training modules involves. Typically, I do corporate trainings starting at 15,000. It's actually more than that now. After last year, we had a huge book launch. It was wonderful. So starting at 15,000, that's usually what I do People School for in corporate workshops, typically. We have done this for so many amazing Fortune 500 companies. And the cool part about this is I have been able to perfect these methods through these companies. So I've been able to go into these incredible companies, teach these advanced people skills, and then follow them, watch and see how they work, tweak them, change them, get feedback, add new science, add new strategies. So you are getting a final product of something that I have been teaching and working on for years. There's a couple things I want to make a note of here. So this is not beginner. If you would like beginner level People School tips, cool. We have our blog, we have our YouTube channel. It's up for free. Those are all my beginner tips. You could also check out my book, Captivate. That's kind of the start of people skills. These are much more comprehensive. These are serious tips. They are serious strategies. I also teach very fast. As you've already noticed today, I have a very fast pace, but you'll get all the slides, you get the workbook, you get all the videos, you can rewatch them at your own pace. So I do move really fast. I don't tend to repeat myself. And we are also very results oriented. Here's what I mean by that. Most schools and classes are theoretical. Like they want to teach you a concept, they want to teach you some science, and then you kind of can implement it, right? You're like, I know that, but how do I use that in real life? People School is very, very much about the action, not just theoretical. So the very first thing we have you do right when you get into People School, which is one of the reasons why everyone who's here for People School orientation, I had you go through the goal setting workshop, is we have you pick your one goal for People School. We either have you want to do something, achieve something, or get something. This goal will ground you through all of the exercises that we do throughout People School, because our goal is for you to get that goal by the end of People School. A couple of examples we've had from previous clients. Oh, Erin said you're awesome. You're awesome too, Erin. Oh, it's so good to get those nice messages when I'm like speaking to a screen. So it's so nice that you guys are chatting. So here's some examples from previous students. Land 3 new clients. Add 100 high quality contacts to my network. Ask for a 20% raise. Set up a weekly lunch with influencers, improve my performance review by at least 2 points. These are just examples of the kind of goals that we really encourage you to do. And hopefully you already have those goals from the goal setting workshop that we just did. Here are a bunch of our People School students. They're so lovely. These are just a couple of them. They are amazing. We were able to also go through our first few classes of People School and get them to achieve their goals. If you want to hear stories from People School students, I'm not going to do them today because we don't have a lot of time. But if you want to hear about some of our students who have already achieved their goals, just email us, email Lauren, and we will tell you some of their amazing stories. They're incredible. Okay. The next thing you have after your workbook, after your video training modules, is we added Q&A for each section. So the way that each section works is I teach you the science, I teach you framework. We have fancy graphics that are really beautiful in the videos. And then we have live Q&A from real People School students. We also will be doing live office hours with you, which I'll get to in a second. So we have previous questions from People School students that you get to watch when you get access to each video. So it's kind of nice because you get to watch the lesson and then hear from real students on their questions. And then you get to ask your own questions. We also, this is a new one, we just decided to do this, is I created audio versions of each lesson. So if you love podcasts, if you want to re-listen to a lesson while you're running or cooking or coding, hacking, or resting, we also have the audio files if you just want to kind of re-listen to the audio files. A lot of our People School students told us they were watching the videos multiple times and they wanted to have ones they could do on their run or on their drive or sort of as a pep talk before they went into meetings. So Q&A audio. The next thing I just mentioned was live calls. So feedback from me, this is my favorite part. So I no longer do coaching. I no longer do one-on-one coaching. I no longer do group coaching. This is how I do coaching. So what we will also have is live office hours calls with me, all of your People School students, as well as your other People School coaches. Actually, Danielle's going to join me later on today. We're going to do some Q&A at the end. So if you have questions, pop them into chat and she'll join me. You'll get to meet her. She's your head People School coach. So in these live calls, you can bring all your questions, right? You can ask me anything you want of the lessons. You can talk about what you've been trying, the frameworks you've been trying. We do those live. I also show you funny videos. Ooh, do I love finding videos from pop culture. So I think last office hours, we did a couple videos from Gilmore Girls, always a classic. I think I just found a couple of presidential election videos I'm going to be showing next. So we have some Tony Robbins videos that are really interesting examples of body language. So I actually teach in those live office hours as well. Sorry if I keep hitting the mic. I'm very handsy, so I don't want to hit it. I know it probably like echoes. We also check in with you pretty constantly. So this is not the kind of thing where you log in and you watch and you never hear from us again. We actually wanted to build this like a real school. What happens in real school is your teacher is there for you. You have other students who are there for you. You have mentors and coaches. So we are going to be checking in with you quite a lot, seeing how you're learning, seeing how you're liking the material. This is a really sweet quote from Erna. She gave us permission to post it. Erna, thank you for checking in with me. The little messages have really helped me feel connected in the class. I feel like you are there and available for me as a teacher, and I appreciate that. I've taken other online courses and felt completely on my own as I went through the material because they never checked in or responded. So we really want to make sure you feel heard. We also send you some surprises in the mail. So they send you some kind of presents and gifts. I do love presents and gifts. Again, I don't do coaching anymore, but when I used to do coaching, it was at $500 an hour. So we have multiple live hours. In fact, we'll be doing live coaching hours throughout. Once you enroll in People School, you get access to the live office hours forever. So it will be many more than just 1 per hour, but that was my old rate. Next, the next big thing, and this is a really big one, is this is not just about me teaching you. This is also about you finding your people. So if any of your people goals had to do with finding accountability partners, building your network, refreshing your network, getting a support system, finding people who are like-minded, that was the other goal for People School. What's the best thing about school is you meet friends. Now, the part of the problem that I had in school is I was terrible at making friends. So I had a really hard time finding my people. So we have built People School for both introverts, not both, introverts, ambiverts, and extroverts, so that you can find your people in a way that works for you. So that could be joining our Facebook group. We have a very active, lovely Facebook group where we post all kinds of icebreakers. I actually think I have an example. Yes. So Lauren posts our icebreakers where we do kind of fun questions. So our newest icebreaker, I think this was for the month of December. Here goes. If you could choose one hobby that now seems out of your reach, either financially or time-wise, what hobby would you take up and why? And everyone gets to answer. So we have icebreakers, we have comments, we have lots of ways for you to be able to interact with people in a way that you feel comfortable with. And I think that your network is your biggest thing. We have some really amazing stories from previous People School students who have found their best friends across the world. It's been, so if you ever want to hear those stories, we're happy to send them to you. Lastly, this is what I've been so excited to tell you. So we are creating a new product at the Science of People. It's called People Lab. It is not launched yet. And we decided that it's a membership site where we're going to post forums for you to build your network. It's everything I love about LinkedIn without all the things I don't like about LinkedIn. We made our own LinkedIn. That's what we decided to do. It's called People Lab. It's not up yet. So if you join People School right now, we will give you 12 months free to People Lab. And that was I was really excited to be able to do that because that way you get to come into our new lab and practice all the skills that you learn. So I'm not going to go too much into People Lab right now because it's not launched yet, but it's about meeting other people, real relationships, a better version of LinkedIn. And again, if you come into People School right now, this won't be forever. You'll get 12 months of it free. So 12 months, it's normally going to be $29.99. That's $359. So all those things will be included when you do People School. I want you to think about for a second, and this is about worth. What would achieving the goals on your development plan be worth to you? What would that mean to you in your life? How would that change things? The social pain. What would saving hours of social pain from your people workflow be worth to you? If you could get rid of just 2 or 3 of those people problems, what would that be worth to you? And high PQ earners, people with higher interpersonal intelligence, earn $29,000 more per year. What would you do to be able to earn that? I truly believe, I know this from my own life, that when you increase your interpersonal intelligence, it helps every area of your life. So I had 2 choices when I was pricing out People School. One, sell as many as possible for as cheap as possible and automate everything, take away all the touch points, don't do live office hours. But I really, truly wanted to make this an incredible experience. I wanted to make it a real school, the school that I never had, where I could meet like-minded people and learn people skills that I could use every day. I also wanted to make sure I could find the right students. There's a reason why we have an application for People School. It's not open to everyone. We have very limited enrollment, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And then I also wanted to, since I'm not doing coaching anymore, I wanted to actually meet you. I personally read every single application. I know each of you. I want you to achieve those goals so badly. And so for me, I wanted to be able to have it so that it was more of an exclusive group. And that was a big decision. So all those things for a company would be $18,859. That is a crazy number for normal people. And I was like, I don't want to keep just offering this for Fortune 500 companies. It does not make sense if it's only for companies. So my price for you is $1,199. I think that this is an incredible way to be able to get the coaching, the workbook, all the people skills. It is all inclusive. It never expires. Once you enroll in People School, you're in forever. You get office hours with me forever. Not that you'll want to be with me forever, but you could if you want to. This is also a starter price. So we're going to be increasing the price of People School every session. And that's because we are adding more and more content. The nice thing is it's also a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't like People School for some reason, it's not for you, that's totally okay. We are a 30-day money-back guarantee. So I'm going to launch that for you. For those of you who are ready, happy to have you for us already. There we go. There you go. All right. Here's what includes all those things. All the career-changing video modules, the workbook, live office hours. And by the way, the workbook page number keeps getting more because we keep adding to it. So that will also keep going up, and we keep giving you the new version as we add more exercises. All the live office hours with me, access to our private Facebook group, 12 months free to People Lab, which you don't know about yet, but it's good. It's really good. The group coaching, lifetime access as we add new modules. Yes, I'm constantly adding new modules to People School based on your questions. For example, we had someone ask about pep talks. So I added a pep talk meditation to the People School curriculum. So we will add stuff as you request it. We have assignments for each different area to kind of hone and test your skills. We have daily knowledge tests. We have audio versions of every lesson, which we just added. We have 4 bonus video modules that we've added, and we actually have some more that are coming up for this class. So I'm excited about it. And you also get a proof of completion upon graduation. One thing you should know is we only launch People School 4 times a year. It's limited enrollment. We do not take a lot of students. And the reason for this is because we want to make sure it is exclusive. Oh yes, don't you love this little guy, little minion? So here's some more bonuses. This list keeps getting longer every class. So one is I filmed a bonus for you specifically on getting your raise. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, I have a template for you on raising your rates. Oh my goodness. I know how hard it is to raise your rates. I have to do it every year with my companies. So I will give you my template on how to raise your rates. And if you're in a job and you want to get a raise, I will give you my template on how to ask for a raise. I actually have a template for this. I filmed a video lesson on cold approaches. So breaking into groups at networking events or parties, and or doing cold approaches at events if you're trying to meet a VIP or someone important. Oof, cold approaches are hard. I have a system for them. I also have a module on finding your people, finding like-minded people, and a couple others, pre-event meditations. I'm going to give you my conversation swipe files. This is all my favorite conversation starters, a couple conversation templates. I also am going to include some of my favorite resources. People ask me all the time, how did I learn about business? What are the books that changed my career? What are my favorite people skills resources? So I have a long video for you, as well as a list of all of my favorite resources that I've used to build my side of my career, the business and personal side. I will also, for those of you who are Captivate readers, hopefully some of you are, I will be giving you my secret 15th bonus chapter. When I was doing Captivate, it was a little bit long, and the publisher said, hey, let's cut the 15th chapter and make it a secret bonus chapter for special people. So you will get that secret 15th chapter when you log in or when you enroll. And I will also be giving you our tutorial on how to take the perfect profile photo, which is based on our research on profile photos. In fact, I really am so grateful that you stayed this long. I promised a present at the end, and I decided to give away this bonus now. So if you would like to know how to take the perfect profile picture, your present, thank you for staying until the very end. I'm going to do Q&A next. Danielle's going to come over and join me. Danielle's going to post, I think it was scienceheal.com/people. scienceheal.com/perfect photo. And we're going to post that in the chat too. That's my thank you for staying. That's my little present for you. It's a really fun little PDF and good. A couple other things for you to know is this is also a lifetime bonus. So this is our flagship product. People School is the thing we're going to have forever. We're going to be adding new lessons, stories, bonuses to People School, and you'll always receive those. So as we update the lessons, as we update the science, you always get them. People School is a lot of love and work and blood and sweat and tears. Actually, I say blood, but I don't actually think it's blood. I don't think any blood went into People School. It's 11 years of my research. We have a database of over 2,500 studies that we use to build the science in People School. And we are using my own life, $200,000 worth of courses, books, and seminars that I have taken and taken all the best nuggets of knowledge to put it into this course. A couple special notes I mentioned. One, application only. So we want to find the right people. We did say no, decline some applications for the last few classes that weren't the right fit. This is application only for a reason. We want highly ambitious, excited self-starters. We're looking for adventurous introverts, goal-oriented extroverts, and ambitious ambiverts. Those are who we're looking for. We take limited enrollment per class. So if we fill up, if we get all the applications in and we fill up, we will hold your application for the next class. And that's because since I give one-on-one feedback, since I read all of your applications, since Danielle and Lauren and the team is working with you, we cannot have too many people. So I will close the applications when we fill up, and we will save your application for the next class. Some other fun little things. We like to have fun at the Science People. We will be having a graduation party. So at the end of the 8 weeks, we have a little celebration for you, a little gift. You get a certificate of completion, some surprises in the mail. And also, People School does not end at 8 weeks. We follow up with an action plan, a bunch of goal follow-ups. And of course, we continue to do live office hours for you. So you have two choices now. Same as my two choices when I was building People School. You can do what you've been doing. And if that's been working for you, awesome. Or you can try something new. Our approach is very different. We do everything science-based. You can start achieving your development plan, working through all those technical and people skills that are missing, and take a little leap. Although I think it's little, because remember, it is 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. So it's not that big of a leap. If you want to try it out, if you want to submit your application, get some feedback on that, we would love to hear from you, because we really want this to change your life. I believe it is a total game changer. The way I think about it is we are upgrading things all the time. We upgrade our phone, our computer, you've taken math classes, we pay to learn coding. Why don't we pay to upgrade our people skills? For some reason, we discount the power of soft skills. And this time, I don't want us to feel like we can't invest in our interpersonal intelligence. Because when we invest in our interpersonal intelligence, it affects every area of our life. Please get buy-in. So if you are at a company, you think that you could maybe use your learning budget for People School. We had students do that last time. Tell your boss, tell your HR director, use your education budget. This will directly help your relationships and your communication at work. And by the way, if you want to get an invoice for a business expense for my entrepreneurs, we're also happy to issue you an invoice, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs who take People School. And if you want to refer a colleague, if you have a partner, accountability partner, a business partner, we also give you 20% off when you refer a colleague, because we like people to take things together. Next steps. Fill out your application. And it's actually what we just did. I actually asked for all of your goal setting questions. Please submit it before the deadline. The deadline is on the application page. The sooner the better, because remember, if we fill up, we have to save your application for the next class. And then as soon as you get accepted, you get access to these skills. You do not have to wait. You actually get instant access to the first few skills, and you get to move through them at your own pace. Danielle, my friend, I think we're ready for Q&A. Danielle's going to come over and join me. I would love to hear in the chat, by the way. This is Danielle. Everyone say hi.
Hello.
So what was your biggest aha moment from this training? So I would love to hear your aha moment. I'm obsessed with aha moments. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. I'm going to make us full screen. Maybe I'm going to make us full screen. I can never figure it out. There we go. Okay, I did it. So this is Danielle. Everyone say hi to Danielle. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
So Danielle, you're going to be interacting a lot with Danielle. She's your head People School coach. She's going to be helping with assignments and applications. She knows everything that I know about People School. She's going to be on all of our live office hours calls as well. So I thought she would join me, help me answer some questions.
Yes.
Because we've already had a couple of classes of People School go through. So give us your questions, but also tell me your aha moments. I want to know what you learned today. What's the biggest thing you're going to do next? What goal are you going to do next? I want to hear from you. Do we have any questions?
We do.
All right.
And I thought before we dived into questions, we could share a really cool aha moment from Brandy.
Yes, please.
So Brandy says, the hardest part for me, to put it simply, is reading people. I just want to express my gratitude for all of the work that you put into your videos, programs, and lessons. They've helped me more than I could ever accurately articulate. A million times over, Vanessa. Thank you.
Oh, is that Brandy?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. Brandy, thank you. Thank you for watching. I mean, I do this for you guys. So the more I hear that, the better it is. And I remember, I'm teaching to a screen. I know that all of you out there, there's hundreds of you out there watching, and it's hard to see you. So it's really nice when I get those comments. Thanks.
Yes. All right. So we'll dive into a couple of questions. Our first question is from Mark.
Okay.
Mark asks, my number one goal right now is to get a raise. Will People School help me with this directly?
Yeah. So if that is your number one goal, fantastic. Here's how it works. So all of the 12 people skills build on each other. So we actually start off with kind of the foundational skills, and then we get more and more advanced as we go, especially 10, 11, 12 are more advanced. You also get a specific bonus on how to ask for a raise. So all the skills we teach you in all 12 skills are going to give you what you need to be able to feel confident enough, have rapport with your boss, have relationships built up. And then the formula for asking for a raise is in that bonus. So yeah, you're going to get it all.
Yeah. I love the specific bonuses. That's really helpful. If you revisit People School, it's like you take the course and then say you want to discuss a raise 6 months, you can go back and revisit those bonuses. So they're always available.
So good point. So if that's not on your radar right now, like getting a raise isn't, but you're like, maybe in a year, it never expires. In fact, I'll probably be adding to that bonus. So yeah, you can save that for when you have that goal. It's a perfect idea.
Okay, great. So next question is from Kara. Kara asks, personally, I'd like to learn how to build charisma because charisma is a skill that is beneficial in nearly every setting. Yes, totally agree. Yeah. Does People School teach charisma science?
Yes, so that is actually skill number 1. So each skill builds on each other, as I mentioned. And in skill number 1, I'm going to teach you my charisma spectrum. This is a framework that actually is the basis for the entire course. And so every skill you learn is going to be trying to gauge where you are on the charisma scale. So yes, that is skill number 1. Oh yeah, we talked about it.
So you mentioned a little bit about Captivate, just briefly. So Mary says, I loved reading Captivate. Is People School similar? Can People School and Captivate go together?
Okay, so I should have mentioned this earlier. So for Captivate, Captivate is the starter for People School. You do not have to read Captivate at all for People School, but I built People School as sort of the next step. So I knew we had all these great readers after Captivate, and they were like, we want more. What's the advanced stuff? So People School is meant to be the sister to that. It's sort of the hybrid. So if you have read Captivate, cool. If you haven't, People School can also stand alone, but they're meant to go together.
Okay, awesome. So next question is from Sultan. Sultan asks, I would love to ask if skills and knowledge acquired in People School can help in landing a new job instead of progressing in a current job.
Yeah. So that's a very different kind of goal. So that means that for each of the different skills, you're going to be focusing on more of your network, on building people skills that are beyond your current job, making sure that you get a good recommendation from your current job. So yes, you would be taking a lot of the skills that you're learning and just applying them outside of your workplace. And actually, I think that People Lab would be really helpful for you as well, because if you're looking to build your network or expand your network and you're like, I don't know. Yeah. And also, I don't know about you. Like LinkedIn is just too much for me. It's like, I get it. Like I get it. Like it works, but like I can't keep track of it. And so People Lab, the reason why I wanted to give 12 months free for People Lab was so that you could have a place to then build your network. So I would actually say you could take the skills you learn in People School and take them over to People Lab pretty easily.
All right. Moving on to the next question from Grace. I also wish there was a class for children learning these skills so no child would ever feel lonely. Any thoughts on that? Yeah. So I love doing elementary school workshops. I actually have a version of People School for elementary schools. I love working with little ones. They learn by osmosis. We actually had a People School student who took People School with his 11-year-old. He actually took People School with his 11-year-old sitting right next to him. So first of all, if you have kids and you want to teach them these skills, yes, let's teach them. And then just long-term, this is Science People goal that's not really related to People School, but my goal is to create 2 sides of Science People. One is the pro bono side, so that's corporate consumers, but I also would love to create a nonprofit side of Science People where we are giving free workshops in schools. So that is a very long-term goal for me. I really hope to actually create this curriculum and give it away to schools for free. So actually you joining People School helps us get closer to that. And if you have kids you can teach this to, there's no better way to share the knowledge. Bring all the kiddos.
Yeah, bring them. I love them. And it's all safe for work. Everything's safe for work.
They'll be honorary Science of Peeps. Little peeps.
Little peeps. Oh, God. By the way, we call Science People peeps because peeps are great.
Yes.
And they're cute. And so you're a Science of Peep now because you're part of this class.
Okay, next question is from Mike. And I think we got a couple similar questions from this in the chat. I have taken some of your other courses and thought they were life-changing. Is People School different? Should I take it in addition to your other courses? Okay, good question. So I have a lot of courses. Thank you for that. So I have courses on Udemy and I also have courses on Creative Live. I also have some courses on our website. So if you're a Udemy student, this course is very, very different from our Udemy courses.
So all of our Udemy courses are great. They're very body language specific, and they're also a little bit more beginner. So People School is completely different from Udemy. If you are a Creative Live student, I have four courses on Creative Live. We have Power of Negotiation, Power of Happiness, Power of Body Language, and Master Your People Skills. It is very different than the Happiness course and the Negotiation course. It is more similar to the Power of Body Language and Master Your People Skills. So I would say if you've taken Master Your People Skills or Power of Body Language, this might be a little bit of repeat for you. However, it is my latest and newest science. And also in Creative Live, I don't get to interact with you. There's no live office hours. There's no support. There's no chat. So I would say it's a little bit more advanced, but there is a little bit of repeat there.
I would say it's more intimate too.
Very much. Yeah. Yes. And the community that you have there, it's also new science. There's a little bit of repeat, but not a ton. And if you got in and you were like, you know what, this is too much repeat, there's a 30-day money back guarantee for that reason.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to share quickly too, we had a really interesting comment from Dennis, one of our former People School students, who said, I'm amazed at how simple yet impactful the program is. Being a Science of People junkie, I've taken a couple Science of People classes already. Having gotten through just a fourth of People School, I already feel my money was well spent. Thanks for looking out for us awkward people. We need all the help we can get.
Oh, Dennis. Yeah, yes. By the way, I knew writing People School that there would be students who have taken all of my other courses before, and I still wanted them to get something new. So our students who have taken all of our previous courses have still been happy, but do keep in mind that there's a little bit on those 2 courses repeat. Mm-hmm.
Okay, next question is from Brandon. Do you have any tips about how a voice should sound when meeting people? And an additional question from Taylor that's similar. Phone communication tips would be a great plus. Do you cover this?
Yeah, okay, so agreed. A lot of our interactions are not just in person, they're phone, IM, email. So People School is not just about in-person interactions, it's also about modern digital communication. So yes, I have an entire lesson on vocal power. Week 6, skill 6, skill 6. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So skill 6 is all about vocal power. It's about resonance. It's about phone communication tips. It's about making sure that we are leveraging your vocal power as part of your nonverbal communication. So yeah, we have an entire skill on it. And I talk about phone communication throughout. Like for example, priming is skill number 2, and priming you can do on the phone, and really helpful on your conference calls or your big group calls. So yeah.
Okay, so next question we have from Lee. What if I have high social anxiety? I love the idea of being awesome at meetings, elevator pitches, etc., but I'm worried about getting over my anxiety to even start.
Yeah, so first of all, I completely get it, and thank you for sharing that. So with social anxiety, what's interesting about it is there's a lot of work you can do before you even show up. So actually skills 1 and 2, as well as 9, are not necessarily about the actual interaction. It's actually about the way that you prep for an interaction. I have found with my own anxiety that if I have prepared for an interaction in the right way, it takes down my social anxiety tremendously when I'm actually in the room. So what I want to teach you are skills that you can do before you even show up, because otherwise everything is riding on that first impression. And like first impressions are important, but I don't want to put everything on it. So I would rather give you skills that you can use even before you enter the room to set yourself up for success, both internally as well as externally. So we're going to be talking about that I hope will take down your anxiety before you actually get into the room, so that your anxiety is less when you're actually interacting.
Yeah, that's great. Hassan has a question about the timeline of People School. So it's like, how many hours per week? What can we expect there?
Sure. Okay. So it's 8 weeks long, and it's a total of 12 skills with all those bonuses. And we give you the first 6 skills right away, and we have you kind of go through those together because you're in a kind of cohort. Your People School is a cohort. So you go through all those skills together, and then we give you at week 4, we give you the next 6 skills. So you're not kind of overwhelmed with all of it. We found in a previous People School that all of it at once was too much. So the good news is you can go through those skills at your own pace. You can like do a whole weekend where you're like, I'm going to do all 6 of them at once. Or you can do 30 minutes a day if you wanted, or you can do 1 skill a day. I would say about each skill, it's about an hour of video content and maybe 15, 20 minutes of like workbook activity.
Yep. And a little bit for Q&A. So we also have a built-in Q&A for each skill. So if you want to get a little bit additional information, that might be another 15 or so minutes.
Yeah. So I would say an hour and a half for each skill. There's 12 skills plus the bonuses. About that. We found a lot of our People School students will rewatch or re-listen just because like it helps solidify the information. So I would say 12, I can't do math, 12 and a half times 12. What is that?
144 plus some other, we'll call it 160.
I don't know.
I think
that's how many it is.
We're not math people.
We're not, no. We're people skills people. So it's about 12 minutes. It's about an hour and a half per skill. But you can do it at your own pace. You can log in at your own pace. And every live office hours is about an hour. So we do live office hours. You get the recording if you can't attend live. Like we do them at different times for different time zones. But if you can't attend live, you can just watch the recording.
All right. So next question is from Candace. And she asks, how much overlap is there between the body language trainer program and People School?
Okay. Should I tell them?
Yeah, tell them.
About the offer? Okay. So I didn't talk about this publicly beforehand, but I will do it now since you asked. So actually, if you get into People School, your entire People School tuition will go towards the trainer program. So in other words, you get People School for free if you sign up for the trainer program. So that means that our current trainers got People School for free, and our People School students right now who signed up for the trainer program retroactively, in a way, got People School for free. The reason we do that, by the way, is because they very, very nicely build on each other. All the nonverbal skills that I teach in People School, you then learn kind of in a deeper way in the training program. I teach you how I teach you why certain skills work. I teach the deeper science of things. So learning it as a People School student helps you as a better trainer. And so we've already had People School students apply for this trainer class. Our trainer class is actually open. And so we had them apply right now. So they're very complimentary on purpose. And a side benefit, although we don't advertise this, is you get People School for free.
Yeah. And I think, Candace, you might have asked too, People School is not a prerequisite for the trainer program. So you don't have to do both of them, but they do work really nicely together. Yeah,
we decided there are actually no prerequisites for anything. So like you don't have to read Captivate to do People School. You don't have to take our lie detection course to do the trainer program. There are no prereqs.
So this question is from Ivan, and he's curious if People School is only for people working in corporate.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. No. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs. So there's kind of three categories, maybe four. Entrepreneurs, so people who are running their own business. We have tons of entrepreneurs and consultants. Intrapreneurs, so people who are in corporate but like want to do more, want to climb, want to get more. And then we have sort of like the student, retiree, just want to learn because I want to learn. We have some stay-at-home moms, we have some parents, and some students also. So I think that those are kind of the three categories of students. Yeah. I didn't miss anyone, did I?
No, that's great. Well, I think we are ready to move into some aha.
Yes.
An aha from Heidi. My aha moment was learning that high PQ earners make $29,000 more per year.
I know.
Yeah, that stat kills me every time.
I know. And it's probably bigger now. That's like an old statistic.
An aha from Jill, the mindset you're in when setting goals. Wow.
Right? Like not being a celebrity to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
From Samantha, my big aha moment today was that I need to reflect on my goals a lot more. I picture my future in a particular way, but my current activities in life does not lead me to my ideal future.
Right. Oh, that mismatch. That mismatch can be heartbreaking, but don't let it be. Right? You discovered the mismatch, and so now you can fix it.
Yes.
Yeah.
From Jordanos, I've heard we should be specific, but now I know why. Also, the circle chart was really helpful than other systems.
Yeah, right. It's like very visual. It's fun. It's fun. I'm telling you, colored markers, they're the best. I love my office supplies.
And aha from Brittany, I really enjoyed your emphasis on present mindset in building goals. I also feel the questions regarding taking inventory of your peer group was super insightful. Yeah,
like who you're interacting with. Yeah, and who's an enabler and who's not.
Yeah. And a final aha from John, no question, but a thank you. I'm in politics. I recently had an event and your skills work wonderfully. Voila, and thank you.
Oh, thanks, John. So for those of you who want to rewatch, who are like, I didn't get all the people goals, no worries. We're going to put the replay up, right? The replay is going up soon.
Yes. Soonish.
So like they process the video and like it takes a while. So probably later today or tomorrow, the replay will go up. So if you want to rewatch anything or take some screenshots of things, absolutely great. If you want to send this to someone, a partner or a colleague who you think could benefit, who need to get on board, please send it. And otherwise, we would love to see your application. I would love to get to know you better. If you don't want to apply to People School right now, no worries. We'll always be here for you. Use the goal wheel, set all those different learning goals, just achieve them and then send us your success stories. If you achieve that goal wheel, send me the pictures. I want to see how you're using it. That's like the best part of being a teacher. And we just want to say thank you from the Science of People. So, oh, by the way, if we missed your question, We will try, if we missed your questions, we will try to email you the answer because we know it's already 12:30 or it's already really late. So we want to make sure that it's okay. And we want to thank you so much for joining us.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.